Hey everyone, and welcome to this short video workshop series where we're looking at animating a simple character. We're lucky to be working with Gus's artwork, Cool Cat. In the series we're going to look at preparing this obviously vector artwork for After Effects. We're going to look at simple rigging approaches in After Effects. We're going to build on our keyframing capabilities, and we're going to output our video for upload. Let's dissect this a little bit in Illustrator. Let's have a look at the layers here. So although Gus supplied this as a very organized file, and we'll have a look at that later, I've collapsed all the layers here to kind of replicate the process that we would go through when we're preparing our own artwork for animation in After Effects. Usually we work on a layer or a couple of different layers, but we've got to be quite specific about the way that we prepare our layers, shifting this over into After Effects. So Gus has drawn this in a series of different groups, or combined these elements into a series of different groups, and that's really helpful for us because each of these little elements will animate independently, but we have to separate everything out into its own separate layers. So each of these components for animation needs to be on its separate layer and named correctly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select everything. Oops, even got a background there. I'm going to select everything, and in the Layers palette, I'm going to come up to the menu here and select this option here, which is Release Layers to Sequence. I'll select that and we'll see what happens there. It's kind of itemized or separated out all of these elements into their own separate sub-layers within that one drawing layer. Now what I have to do is select all of those layers, and I'm holding Shift down. I'll select all of those layers and I'll drag them out of that parent layer. So now I've got all of those separate layers individually at the top level of hierarchy on their own, and this one here is empty, so I'm going to delete that. So you can see now when I turn off each one of these layers, I'll deselect everything. Each one of these layers is its own separate part, which is fantastic. So I'm now going to name all of those layers because that's kind of important when we get into After Effects. So I'm going to call this one Hat, and this one's going to be Left, or Whiskers Left, something like that, and then Whiskers Right, and then this one is going to be, this one is going to be Eye Blink, and then Eyes, and so on and so forth. And I might just flick over to the actual file that Gus supplied me, where he's done all of that work for me, labeled everything perfectly, got this little eye blink for us, and everything is individually separated. And at this point we're ready to take it over to After Effects. So fingers crossed I've got After Effects open, and I do. I'm going to make a new project, and I'm going to go File, Import File, and navigate to that spot where I've got Gus's layered file. So this is ready to go. And the important thing here when I'm importing, just like when we're importing into Photoshop, is to make sure that we've got composition, retain layer sizes selected. That's important, so that when I import that, all of the layers that we've separated and named are included in the layer stack of our composition here. All right, so that's looking great. We can turn all of these on and off. I'll just zoom out, you can see the whole thing there. Notice we've got quite a few layers here to contend with, so it could get confusing in the upcoming animation. but it's good that we've got all of these elements named here so that we know what each element is. Just before I finish this video, let's go to composition settings, and we'll just adjust not the ratio, the height and width of our frame or composition, that's fine, but we want to make sure that we've got 30 frames per second selected, and I'm going to make this a very short animation for our demonstration of 2 seconds long, and I'll click make that adjustment. And then I think we're ready to start the rigging process in After Effects, so we'll be back shortly to do that aspect.